everybody and welcome back to my channel. My name is Kitty Mary. Thank you so much for joining me today because today I am going to share 10 things with you that are surprisingly unsustainable. I have done a video in this series before. You guys really seem to like it, and I've been collecting thoughts throughout these past few months that I've now collected into a video. I have 10 things that are surprisingly unsustainable. The premise of this video is that things are surprisingly unsustainable or has a surprising impact. It does not mean that these things are the most important things to focus on in sustainability. That's not the premise of this video. I'm also not going to mention like the big, really polluting, very unsustainable practices, methods and businesses and objects and products, etc. because, again, not the premise. Just so no one is confused. Okay, the first thing that is surprisingly unsustainable is cut flowers. Now, yesterday was Valentine's Day. Like, you're just getting a little glimpse into when I'm filming this, but okay. Yesterday was Valentine's Day, which was a pretty good time to talk about cut flowers, and especially roses as well. But overall, and this is the case throughout the entire year, but it just peaks at Valentine's Day because everyone wants flowers. The demand is really high. Usually flowers are grown in greenhouses that require fossil fuels to run, and transporting them usually require airplane travel because otherwise they're not gonna make it. So if you're thinking about buying a bouquet for someone you love and you want to show them that love with plants, buy them something that can keep on living for a really long time, something with roots. Is always a better and more sustainable idea because you will like it for a longer time. It will be there, you can care for it, but you can't really care extensively for cut flowers. You can dry them though, which is a good thing to do if you do receive flowers. Number 2 is resin. So resin is used for a variety of different things. Resin is used in industrial manufacturing literally all the time, so this is not a new thing. But what I have seen to sort of become a new thing, I don't even know if it's already sort of phased out again, but during the first lockdown, everyone and their mother were creating resin art on social media. Everyone was encasing things in resin or using resin items as decor. And I'm just wondering, have you made resin art? How's it going with that? Is that just gonna sit there forever? I don't know. But I do predict that our thrift shops will overflow in the future with people's past resin art because it's never going to go away. So resin, epoxy, etc. is first of all really toxic chemicals, very dangerous, and also it doesn't ever biodegrade. It has plastic qualities and it's not very good for the environment whatsoever. So if you can find another media to work in that is more sustainable than just the most toxic material on earth, that would be good. Number 3, and now I'm coming from my own people here a little bit, but canvas bags are surprisingly unsustainable. Arguably too many people, including myself, have too many canvas bags. Canvas bags, tote bags need to be used hundreds of times in order to have a smaller impact than that of a plastic bag, because it requires a lot of materials and it requires a lot of resources to make canvas bags, to make tote bags, cotton totes, etc. Usually they're made from cotton or hemp or linen, etc. And these materials have an impact. Cotton has the highest impact of these and it requires massive amounts of water to create them. So just getting canvas bags to never ever use them, it just doesn't really sit right, you know. So if you do have canvas bags, you use them as much as you can. If you have more canvas bags than you can use, perhaps give them to someone else who don't have enough canvas bags. The reason why I came to think of canvas bags as well was that I recently scrolled through TikTok and then I found an advertisement for a clothing brand, and they were advertising that you could get a free canvas bag with each purchase, and they sort of made it sound like, oh my god, cool, I'm gonna grab myself a free canvas bag and I'm gonna grab myself a free canvas bag. Using cotton totes as freebies, as promotional items, might make it really easy to forget that there's a huge impact behind this product, and I don't necessarily, I don't think that is a sustainable business practice because it clearly goes to show that they as a company is not aware of the impact of these totes. They're also quite expensive to produce, so if a company is giving them away for free, that also indicates that perhaps they weren't produced very sustainably. They were at least produced cheaply enough for them to justify giving them away for free. So yeah, use what you got and don't accept free canvas bags if you know you're not gonna use it. Okay, a hot one, yeehaw. Surprisingly, it's more unsustainable to wash your dishes by hand than to wash them in a dishwasher. Okay, the reason why that is because you use excessive amounts of water when you wash by hand. Usually. I mean, there are practices and you can sort of practice not using as much water, but on average we just use more water when we wash by hand. And a dishwasher uses a lot less water because it's designed to save water. At least that is the case with newer appliances. So of course you can't just take an old dishwasher and then compare it to washing by hand. That might be completely different, but newer, more energy efficient dishwashers are definitely more sustainable in terms of water and energy. And on that note, keeping old appliances might be surprisingly unsustainable. Of course, there's a huge gray area here because what are old appliances? It might be many different things, and it might not be universally true what sort of counts as old appliances. But overall, the thing is with older appliances is that materials are used, ingredients are used to produce them, chemicals are used within them that are very unsustainable to keep in your home. They are also very unsustainable to get rid of because they'll usually just be dug down in a hole because there isn't any functioning recycling systems available to deal with old appliances. So for consumers at least, it's very much indeed a lose-lose. But older appliances are also much less energy efficient, so you might actually not only see it on your electrical bill, but you will also see it on your own personal carbon footprint if you're using old appliances. So it might be a good idea to switch it up and get something that's newer and more energy efficient that can last you a longer time. Preferably something with a repair program, but I digress. Anyway, just keeping old appliances from the 70s and 80s might not be a good idea. Number 6 is disposable chopsticks. So any wood product that's made to be used once and then discarded is unsustainable, period. That also accounts for disposable wooden forks and knives. I've seen those, especially as alternatives to plastic cutlery. Then it's just made out of wood, and that is just incredibly unsustainable. It's not even great if it's made from bamboo. Bamboo has overall, often at least, a lower carbon footprint, but the supply chains are really difficult to see through. So overall, if there is a solid material, using it simply one time and throwing it away is not sustainable. If I do get disposable chopsticks, I'll see if I can find ways of reusing them over and over, upcycling them, using them in DIY projects, or simply just keep using them at home. That is much better than throwing them away. If you do need to throw them away, compost bin. Yeehaw! About 80 billion pairs of chopsticks are produced every single year, which means that about 20 million trees has to be taken down in order to make chopsticks. And we could just reuse easily, actually. Number 7 is flushable wipes. So I don't know, you've probably seen this. It's not a huge thing in Denmark, but I have seen them still here and there, but I know other places it's really huge. You can get different types of flushable products. That both goes for wipes and makeup wipes. It goes for hygiene products. It goes for just anything that isn't toilet paper, but still it's advertised as being flushable. You know those things? They aren't actually, I mean, like, they are flushable, but that just means that it's someone else's problem now, because a lot of these things, especially wipes, are made from polyester components and are made from essentially plastic, which means that they won't break apart or biodegrade in water, and that is a really big problem for our waste sewage management plants, because they're just gonna have to fish out chunks and chunks and chunks of flushable products. So even if it says flushable, simply discarding of it in another way rather than down the drain, I would do any day. I don't trust anything that says it's flushable. If it's not toilet paper or things that comes out of me, it's not going in the drain, okay? And with that disturbing image, conventional candles are also surprisingly unsustainable, or they have a surprising impact at least. First of all, I guess a lot of people at this point know that burning normal conventional candles can be quite damaging to your indoor environment. Because a lot of chemicals are released into the air, and that is mainly because that conventional candles are made from petroleum byproducts, so it's made from fossil fuels, and burning that stuff inside your home just isn't ideal. If you do have candles, use them, but make sure you have good ventilation. And if you need to buy new candles, see if you can find candles made from other things. I like soy wax. Number 9, again, sort of coming from my own people here a little bit, but we have to talk about it. Okay, essential oils, they are actually quite unsustainable. I mean, they are quite unsustainable when used mindlessly, when used without thinking about what those drops of essential oil actually represent. Using a little bit of essential oil is fine, but overusing and over-consuming essential oil can have a massive impact, and especially now with demand for essential oil being bigger than it's been in the past, there's definitely some issues there. So to make essential oil, you have to take a lot of product and concentrate it into tiny, tiny drops. So obviously that means that you will need to use huge amounts of material to make a very small thing. To make 16 ounces of rose essential oil, you will need over 10,000 flowers. So using it mindfully and sustainably is a really good idea, and over-consuming this stuff might be really, really bad. At least it's very wasteful. And number 10 might be the least surprising. I guess a lot of people know about this, but I thought it belonged on this list anyway, and that is concrete. So concrete is the second most utilized material in the world after water. It's basically everywhere, and it is quite unsustainable. It is quite unsustainable because it's based on non-renewable resources. It's based on finite resources, primarily sand, and it requires a lot of fossil fuels to create. But there's also the notion that it's a non-renewable material that cannot really be recycled. We don't have any means of repurposing old concrete into new concrete. Now, in contrast to some of the other products and habits on this list, it might be a little bit difficult to practice a life without any relationship with concrete, because at this point the majority of our world is built in it, and it's low-key very depressing. That's the whole other thing. Most of all, I guess, unless you have direct ties to the industry or you have a say in how things are built, please build things differently. Other than that, I guess it's just a less than fun fact that you can carry around with you. And this video was not necessarily meant to inspire deep systemic change, but more so just to make people aware of things that have a higher impact than we might expect. And then we can use that, I didn't realize that, to change different small bits and things around our lives. And that was just basically it. If you want like bigger, this is what we can actually do, I have other videos for that. This was more of a the more you know. I hope you liked this video. If you did, you can leave me a thumbs up. That would make my day. You can also comment if you have anything you think deserves to be on a surprisingly unsustainable, surprisingly high impact list. I would love to hear you guys out, and if you want me to make a part 3, I will obviously do that as well. Thank you so much for watching. Please consider subscribing and helping your girl out. Other than that, thank you so much and have an amazing day, and take really good care of yourselves. Until next time. Bye. Thank you so much for watching this video, and also a special thank you to my Patreon supporters. You guys help me create green, zero waste content, and I love you guys. You can find the links to my social media accounts down below and the link to my Patreon on this screen. Bye!